Love is not just a feeling. It is a commitment. A decision to care, to support, and to stand by someone through the ups and downs. Love, in its truest form, is everlasting.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a very beautiful afternoon to all of you. 70 years ago, on April 20, 1956, to be specific, in a quiet village in Elisha, Osun State, a baby boy was born. At the time of his birth, only one person, and that's the Almighty God, knew what he would eventually become. His parents christened him Shola, but his friends used to call him Asholi Bobo. Today, we are gathered at Kesintin Adebukola Adebutu Hall inside the Nigerian Institute of Journalism in Ogba, Lagos, to celebrate the goodness, the kindness, the greatness, the graciousness, the faithfulness, and the awesomeness of God in his life. Yes, Asholi Bobo, as a son, a brother, a father, a grandfather, a mentor, an advisor, a friend, etc., has done very, very well for himself. A celebrated journalist, a former editor of Weekend Concord, a former senior associate editor of Tell, a former general editor of The Sun, a former managing director and editor-in-chief of The Sun newspapers in Ghana, the president, chief executive officer of The Crest, a fellow of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Please, distinguished guests, let's not be stingy with applause. Let's give the celebrant a resounding, thunderous round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you. Chief Shola Oshunkeye has done 70. He will do 80. He will do 90. He will do 100. And after that, he can negotiate with the Almighty God, the extra that will do him well. And those of us who are yet to attain or to join the septuagenarians, those of us who are yet to clock 70, I also pray that we'll get to make 70. You don't want to make 70 here. We'll make 80. We'll make 90. We'll make 100. My name is Azu Arinze. I am the publisher and editor-in-chief of Yes International Magazine. I'm also an author, but like I like introducing myself, I write and I speak for a living. Today, I have been mandated by Chief Oshunkeye to be in charge of the microphone. Thank you very much. Please, can we settle down? Can we settle down? Can we settle down? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, yes, for someone to shed more light on the reason all of us have converged here this afternoon, I'd like to invite to the microphone one of the closest persons to the celebrant. An accomplished journalist, a former editor and managing director of the Sun newspapers, a former editor of the Concord, a former president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, a former presidential spokesperson, one of the few people that I have tremendous and humongous respect for. If our hands are not too busy, ladies and gentlemen, I would like us to put them together as I invite to this side of the hall, Chief Femi Adesina, OON. Thank you. Please don't stop clapping until he gets here. Thank you very much. Thank you. 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 Can we make a way for him? Thank you very much. Please, 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 please. Let's make way for. No, but he's coming. He's coming here to. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Your Excellencies, our real fathers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me start by appreciating all the good people who have turned up this afternoon to celebrate our friend and brother, Shola Oshunkeye at 70. When he was 40, I remember it was in the Weekend Concord office that we celebrated it. We celebrated him at 50, at 60, and today we are doing it again at 70. To God be all the glory. We pray that the same person who has celebrated all these landmark years in the past will do more in future as the Lord tarries. Thank you, God, in Jesus' name. Salman, our brother from across the Niger, said he was called, is it a Shola Bobo? Well, that's just one of the names. You know, one of the most popular and famous names now is Baba Ilabe. Baba Ilabe. Wherever Ilabe is happening, you will see Shola Oshunkeye there. He was giving me some pictures to select from when he wanted to put one on his book. And I said, these pictures, we can barely see your face because the neck has covered everywhere. That's what happens to Baba Ilabes. Their necks feel everywhere. So we are glad to rejoice with him today. There's still a lot to say and read, particularly from the book. So I'm not going to speak much. Rather, I'll thank you once again for coming and for identifying with the only Baba Ilabe of Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, before we invite our chairman to talk to us, I'll crave your indulgence to quickly recognize some distinguished guests who are in our midst. Of course, our chairman is no other person than our Remo Olusegun Oshoba. I'll still introduce him properly before he comes to speak. We're also honored to have in our midst the publisher of Ovation International Magazine, Basharun Dele Momodu. Thank you very much. We have one of the former managing director of the Sun newspapers, Dr. Tony Onyema, in our midst. We have the Jagaban of software journalism in Nigeria, Lord Mayor Akinpelu, in our midst. We have the rugged and resilient Sheikh Imbe, the publisher of City People, in our midst. We have the lady who writes a sumptuous column, and that's talking about Mrs. Funke Egbemode, a former president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. We also have seated there the former president of the Guild of Corporate Online Publishers, Dr. Maureen Chibo, in our midst. We have the grandfather who is perpetually wearing shorts, Egbon Richard Akinola, in our midst. Please, can we give him a round of applause? We have the publisher of the Eagle Online, Mr. Dotun Oladipo, in our midst. Please, can we give him a round of applause? We have one of the finest columnists and the editor of the Saturday Tribune, Dr. Lasisi Olagunju, in our midst. Please, can we give him a round of applause? We also have the poet in our midst, Mr. Akim Lasisi. Let's give him a round of applause. We have Mrs. Funke Oti, who is going to be our chief launcher. Can we give her a round of applause? Otumba Gani Adams, the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land, is also in our midst. Can we give him a round of applause? Mr. Tokwe Ajayi, the senior special assistant to the president of media and publicity, is here with us. Can we give him a round of applause? One of our most respected elders as far as the journalism profession is concerned, Baba Folu Olamiti, is in our midst. Please, can we give him a round of applause? One of the finest editors that Nigeria has produced, Mr. Bruce Malogo, is also here with us. Can we give him a round of applause? I just cited the beautiful face of our landlord, the provost of the Nigerian Institute of Journalism, a former editor of the Vanguard newspapers, a former president of Nigerian Guild of Editors, Mr. Benga Adefaye. Please, let's give him a round of applause. Our boy in the profession, Uncle Taiwo Bay, is here with us. Please, can we give him a round of applause? My friend and my brother, the deputy president of the Guild of Corporate Online Publishers, and the publisher of QEDNG, my brother for life, Olumide Yonda, is here. Please, can we give him a round of applause? Mr. Kayode Komolafe is here. Can we give him a round of applause? Mr. Muiwa Akintunde is here with us. Can we give him a round of applause? Mr. Gabriel Akinodeo is here with us. Can we give him a round of applause? Mr. Kazim Akintunde is here. Can we give him a round of applause? Our Ebo, when it comes to journalism and column writing, Baba Dare Babarinsa is seated there. Can we give him a round of applause? Mr. Yomi Ololabi is here with us, a former commissioner. Let's give him a round of applause. Alhaji Semi Okolawon is here with us. Let's give him a round of applause. The grandfather of human interest journalism, the king of tabloid, our Baba Mike Awoyinfa is there with his delectable work. Please, let's give him a round of applause. Of course, I was saving the best for the last. I came to work in fame with just an ordinary national diploma. Then he wasn't a traditional ruler, and he saw me. He said, you should go back to school. I went back to school, got my HND. Then he saw me one day and said, you should go back to school. So I went back to school again and started afresh. I got my BSc in public administration. He saw me, said you should add a master's to it. I went back again, I got a master's in public administration. He saw me another day and said, why don't you add a doctorate to what we have now? So I'm still doing that. Oba Adedokun Abolarin. Please, can we give him a thunderous round of applause? Kabiesi, in the next 1 or 2 years, you begin to address your son as Dr. Azu Arinze. Thank you so much for the encouragement. Thank you very, very much. Mrs. Funke Oti, the chairman, Naira Point Finance Limited, our chief launcher. I don't know where she's seated. She's coming. Is she around? Please let her come. There's a seat. Yes, please. Where is that? Let's give our chief launcher a round of applause. Let us make it thunderous. Thank you very much. Where is it? Don't stop clapping until our chief launcher gets here. Where is she seated? Where is she seated? Where is she? Basically, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hear from our chairman, a former governor of Ogun State, a former editor of Daily Times, one of Nigeria's legendary, most iconic journalists. Baba is perpetually a reporter. He still reports. Let us. Thank you so much, sir.
I wouldn't want to waste your time by starting the protocol. Since Azu has recognized everybody, so I'll just say, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, carry on. Carry on. Ìjẹ̀ṣà orí ti ṣàánú. Ilé lọmọ wá tí múná roko, àwọn òṣó máa ló, ẹlẹ́ni ẹ̀wẹ̀lẹ́. A máa ń sọ pé màá bá Ìjẹ̀ṣà ṣòro, àbí? Arógunyọ̀. Their national anthem was very intimidating. And I was telling my colleague, Dupe Ajayi, I said, well, this is really intimidating. Our Egba anthem is only 2 stanzas. But this Jesha one was about 10 stanzas. I welcome all of you to this ceremony. My joy today is that we, the journalists, are honoring one of our own. And I want to thank all of you because I see that 3/4 of these all are all journalists. That is how it should be. Because we tend to celebrate others. But recently the situation is changing in celebrating our own. And I had to be here again after I suffered the mix-up. I was here yesterday. I phoned Shola day before yesterday. I said, what time do you want me to arrive? He said 12 noon. So we discussed. I said, with the mind that the book launch was yesterday. Day before yesterday, about 11 o'clock, he said, I should go 11 p.m. So I got here at about 11:45, and I found the whole place empty. So I phoned him. I said, Shola, but he said he had to postpone it because yesterday was Vanguard Economic Summit. So the change of day that is sent to me, my aides did not correct my manifest. So it made me to suffer to come all the way from Abeokuta down here, and I had to alter all my program, unfortunately, because you all know we are in the season of, we politicians. Our season has started, the season of elections. And you must have read what we have done in Ogun State by having our own consensus candidate in our party. As I'm here, all the legislators from Abuja and in the whole state are waiting for me for a meeting at 2 o'clock. I had to alter that again for today. So I will crave your indulgence to please allow me to proceed to Abeokuta. But I have come here because I'm always around for anything that has to do with journalism, no matter the problem I may have. And I'm here because Shola is a man I respect a lot for his contribution to our profession and for what he is still going to contribute to our profession. I pray. He's just 70. I didn't know if I started earlier at 87, he would have been my first son. At 17, I will be capable then to have produced a baby. So my prayer is that as father to Shola, Femi Adesina said he was there for 40, 50, 60, 70. Today, when he's 80, I will be here by the grace of God. Because my aim is to reach 100. My prayer to God is that I will reach 100. So Shola, when you are 80, I will be here again. And I will be your chairman. So ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for honoring one of our own. I thank all of you, my colleague, for turning out in large number to celebrate Shola Oshunkeye, to celebrate journalism, to celebrate a gentleman, to celebrate somebody who has been a star in our profession. So I wish that all of you will take advantage of this, our beautiful hall. The NIJ that we used to have, founded by Jack Ode, was still, but now, under my chairmanship as NIJ, we have this beautiful edifice, and more is coming. So I will wish that you stay, enjoy the whole ceremony, and lunch will be served so that you have the best of the day. But forgive me if I had to start now proceeding back to Abeokuta for our political activities. So, Kábíyèsí, àti bàbá wa Òkèlá, ẹ̀yin Ìjẹ̀ṣà, Arógunlọ̀, iṣẹ́ ògbọ́dọ̀. Thank you very much.
My fathers in journalism, our royal fathers here present. My name is Tessie Igomo. I'm an investigative journalist and deputy editor of Punch Weekend Titles. It's a great honor to introduce our great mentor here. It's a great honor and privilege to read his citation about a distinguished Nigerian, a towering figure, and a simple man. Yes, wherever the name of modern journalism and politics is told, the name Dele Momodu resonates. He's a creative writer, master of investigative journalism, and star of human interest journalism. He is not merely a commentator on Nigerian politics, but one of the rare voices who has consistently confronted power with uncomfortable truths. Born in Ile-Ife with roots in Ihe-Ife, Edo State, Momodu was educated at the then University of Ibadan, of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, sorry about that, where he studied Yoruba before earning a master's degree in English literature. As a journalist, he redefined storytelling, he humanized reports, and brought to national focus the fate of the common man. At Weekend Concord, He set new stands ablaze with gripping thrillers that captivated a nation. His ability to extract meaning where others saw none, to turn the ordinary into extraordinary, and to hold readers spellbound was legendary. He transformed words into gold, crafting powerful narratives that demand to be preserved. He revisited and remembered histories of our great nation. He writes about pretense without needless ornaments, direct, punchy, and impactful. His style defies easy definition. At once articulate and engaging, he moves seamlessly between conversational ease and intellectual depth. In his hands, words sings, and when the moment demands, they weep. He has an uncanny ability to eliminate the complex and humanize abstracts, always with elegance and panache. He can be emphatic, reflective, even poetic. Momodu's celebrated column, Pendulum, remains a masterclass in clarity and conviction. Agree or disagree, one cannot ignore its faults. After Weekend Concord and while in exile, Momodu in 1996 founded Ovation International, a publication that became one of Africa's most influential lifestyle magazines, celebrating excellence across continents and beyond. He was to migrate from print to broadcast with Ovation TV and into digital media with the Boss newspapers, with a vision to continually expand the frontiers of African storytelling. In all, he made a mark as a journalist, a publisher, and a media entrepreneur. Momodu ventured into politics, driven by a desire to shape the nation he has long chronicled. Though the outcomes may vary, the courage to participate underscores his wavering commitment to Nigeria's democratic journey. In an era where silence is safer and conformity more convenient, he chose courage with uncommon boldness. He has spoken in ways that echo the frustrations and aspirations of millions of Nigerians. Today, Dele Momodu stands as a towering figure whose influence cuts across journalism, business, and public life. His numerous awards and honors only affirm what is already evident, that his impact is profound, his voice is significant, and his legacy enduring. I need to move. Remarkably beyond the public persona lies a man of remarkable simplicity. Those who know him attest to his humility, his warmth, and his expansive spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, may we acknowledge journalists, editors, and a fearless and courageous man, and a conscience of a country plagued by pretense. May we welcome Bob D.
Kábíyèsí o, Ọba Adédokun Abọ́lárin Aróyinkẹ́yẹ the first. I am his Bashorun of Òkè-Ìlà-Ọ̀ràngún. The Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land, the Ààrẹ Gani Adams. Mojuba o, Mojuba o, Mojuba o. The representatives of my Baba, the Ọwá Òbùkún of Ìjẹ̀ṣà land, ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ẹ̀. My sister Dúpẹ́ Ajayi, ẹ kú ọjọ́ mẹ́ta mà. I would have loved to acknowledge all the journalism giants in the house, but I will use two of my bosses. Uncle Folu Olameti, if he's still around, he was the first man to give me a column in the Sunday Tribune 30-something years ago. And of course, the man who changed my life and lifestyle forever. I call him my boss for life, Uncle Mike Awonyifa.
and his wife. And today I added one to my bosses, Mrs. Dingba Igwe. I'm so happy to see you, ma. Your great husband was our deputy editor, and I rose to become news editor at the Weekend Concord. And Uncle Mike told me at that time, when Classic invited me, that you better go, Dele, you've reached your peak, because myself and Dingba Igwe, we are still very strong on the job. Good to see you, man. So I'll go straight to what I've been asked to do by the celebrant of today, an award-winning journalist, Chief Shola Oshunkeye. Congratulations on your 70th birthday. Please, let's clap for him. 70 is not easy. I stand before you today with a deep sense of honor, reflection, and nostalgia as we gather to celebrate a remarkable icon of our profession, Shola Oshunkeye, at 70. This is not merely a celebration of age, but of a life devoted to excellence, courage, and the lasting craft of journalism. It is a celebration of a generation that did not simply observe history, but shaped it through words that carried weight, conviction, and consequence. If journalism in Nigeria had a conscience, it would, in many ways, speak in the voice of Shola Oshunkeye. The theme of this colloquium, the decline of human interest journalism in Nigeria, is both timely and deeply unsettling. It invites us to confront an uncomfortable truth about the trajectory of our profession. There was a time when journalism in this country was not confined to the mere reporting of events. It was about people. It was about context. It was about meaning. Stories were told not just to inform, but also to connect, move, and inspire. The human being was always at the center of the narrative. Permit me to draw from my own journey within this noble profession. As a young, ambitious writer at the Weekend Concord, I was immersed in an environment where journalism was alive, textured, and deeply human. It was not unusual for one to move within the same week from covering the struggles of the ordinary Nigerian to engaging the most powerful figures in the land. Later, as editor of Classic magazine, that exposure deepened even further. The magazine world, with its blend of society, culture, and power, opened doors into spaces where the I am the mighty revealed not just their public personas, but also their private vulnerabilities, ambitions, fears, and humanity. Those encounters were not merely social privileges. They were professional opportunities of the highest order. They earned respect not simply because of proximity to power, but because of the trust built through careful, responsible, and insightful storytelling. Over time, those interactions evolved into networks that have endured far beyond the immediacy of the newsroom. Relationships formed in the pursuit of stories became bridges of understanding, channels of communication, and reservoirs of mutual regard. What is often underestimated is how those engagements, especially with the lighter side of life, sharpen one's analytical depth. When one listens closely to informal conversations, observes gestures, notes silences, and pays attention to seemingly trivial details, one begins to understand society at a level that statistics and official statements can never fully capture. It is in these nuances, in these intangibles, that the true diagnosis of social phenomena often lies. Human interest journalism, therefore, is not a distraction from serious journalism. It is in many ways its foundation. It enables It enables the journalist to see beyond the surface, to connect the dots between personal stories and broader societal patterns, and to interpret events with depth that endears all parties to one another. It humanizes power and dignifies the ordinary. It builds empathy where there might otherwise be distance. It fosters understanding where there might otherwise be suspicion. In this way, it does not merely inform society, it binds it together. I recall vividly a recent archival research session at the Dele Momodu Leadership Center in Ibadan, where we revisited old editions of newspapers such as the Weekend Concord, the National Concord, and the Sunday Tribune. As we turned those aging pages, it felt almost like stepping into another era, one where journalism breathed differently, spoke more directly, and carried an unmistakable human pulse. What struck me most was not just the stories themselves, but the spirit behind them. There was a boldness, an urgency, and a deep sense of connection to the people. Headlines were not crafted merely to inform. They were written to resonate, and they carried stories that spoke directly to the nation's soul. Uncle Mike Awoyinfa was an expert in headline casting. Please, a round of applause for him. One could encounter something as simple, yet as powerful as my son was born into poverty, where Chief Moshood Kashimawo Olawale Abiola spoke candidly about his humble beginnings. In that moment, a man of immense stature became relatable, a story reflecting the struggles and aspirations of countless Nigerians. It was a narrative of resilience, of aspiration, and of possibility. In another instance, the extensive coverage of the life and passing of Simbiat Abiola unfolded not just as news, but as a deeply human narrative through tributes, interviews, and reflections. Readers were invited not only to be informed, but to feel, to mourn, to remember, and to appreciate the fullness of her life and her influence. That was journalism at its most humane, its most powerful, and its most enduring. But it was not only in major personalities that this spirit existed. Even across other pages, the range and boldness of reporting were striking. There were bold and audacious political commentaries that held leaders accountable and reflected the nation's pulse, and even had-edged political reporting such as Rieku's call for accountability through poetic justice. There were also stark, almost jarring social reports that reflected the realities of the time, including crime and societal concerns, reminding readers that journalism was not distant from everyday life, but deeply embedded in it. Even stories that appeared light on the surface often carried deeper social meaning, offering insight into the culture and everyday realities of the people. There was space in the newspapers for the voices of ordinary Nigerians, for the mechanic on the roadside, for the trader in the market, the citizen whose story might otherwise go unheard. We used to call it man in the street stories. Today, however, the landscape has changed dramatically. We live in an age defined by speed and immediacy. Information travels faster than ever before, but often at the expense of depth and reflection. The pressure to break news has, in many cases, replaced the commitment to understand it. The pursuit of virality has overshadowed the responsibility of accuracy and empathy. In this environment, human interest journalism has gradually been pushed to the margins. Increasingly, what we now see is reporting that feels detached from the human condition. Stories are presented without context, without depth, and without the emotional resonance that once defined the craft. The ordinary citizen who was once central to the narrative is now frequently absent. replaced by a fixation on power, celebrity, and spectacle. In losing these voices, journalism risks losing its moral anchor. As earlier noted, human interest journalism remains the foundation of meaningful reporting. It is through such stories that we develop empathy, understand the complexities of our society, and preserve the lived experiences of our people. Without it, journalism becomes mechanical and distant, stripped of the very essence that gives its relevance and purpose. In celebrating Shola Oshunkeye today, we are reminded of a standard that must not fade. It represents a tradition in which journalism was approached with discipline, integrity, and a profound sense of responsibility. Its career stands as evidence that excellence in this field is neither accidental nor superficial. It is the product of commitment, courage, and an unyielding dedication to truth. The question before us, therefore, is not merely how we arrived at this point, but how we move forward. There is an urgent need to reclaim the human dimension of journalism. This requires a conscious return to storytelling that is rich, nuanced, and deeply rooted in the realities of the people. It demands investment in depth, in research, and in narratives that go beyond the surface. It calls for the training of a new generation of journalists who understand their role extends beyond reporting events to shaping understanding. Equally important is the preservation of our media archives. As we saw in the engagement with historical newspapers, these records are invaluable. They serve not only as a repository of information, but a guide to the standards and values that once defined our profession. They remind us that journalism has always had the power to influence society and to hold a mirror to it. Above all, there must be a restoration of courage. And I must salute Uncle Nosai Gebo and others for their courage. Journalism loses its purpose. It becomes timid, compromised, and ultimately ineffective. The history of Nigerian journalism is rich with examples of individuals who stood firm in the face of adversity, who risked personal safety in the pursuit of truth. That spirit must not be lost. And that reminds me of the days of Tell, of the newspaper, of Temple, led by Uncle Bayo Ononuga. As I reflect on those earlier days and compare them with our present reality, I'm filled with both pride and concern. Pride in what we once achieved, and concern for what we risk losing. Yet, I remain hopeful. The very fact that we are gathered here today to celebrate a figure like Shola Oshunkeye suggests that the values he represents are still recognized and cherished. The future of journalism in Nigeria is still within our control. It is up to us to ensure that it does not become a mere conveyor of information, but remains a vital instrument of understanding and connection. We must strive to build a media culture in which stories do more than inform. They resonate, endure, and inspire. Let us commit ourselves to a renewal of purpose. Let us return to a form of journalism that captures the depth of human experience and reflects the true spirit of our society. Let us ensure that when future generations look back on our time, they will see not a profession that lost its way, but one that found the courage to rediscover its soul. On this momentous occasion, I extend my warmest congratulations to Shola Oshunkeye. Its life and career stand as evidence of what journalism can and should be. It reminds us that the greatest stories are not merely written, but lived. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and may God bless you all.
expecting anything less. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before we delve into the panel discussion, I'd like to quickly inform us that we have a new chairman, and he is no other person than Kábíyèsí Adédọ̀kun Abọ́lárin. Let's give him a round of applause. That's our new chairman. Thank you very much. Thank you. Kábíyèsí o. In a very, very short while, I'll be handing over the mic to him so that he can tell us how to proceed. But before we do that, I would like to very quickly recognize the presence in our midst of Chief Mrs. Victoria Awomolo. 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 I was pulling your legs to see what you people will do, and you fell for my trick. She is a member of the body of benchers. She's also the first female senior advocate produced by the Great University of Ibadan, attended by my friend and my brother Olumide Emmanuel. Olumide Yonda. Also in our midst, we have the immediate pastor and vice chancellor of the Great University of Ibadan, and the current president, Ilesha Grammar School Old Students Association. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I don't know where the poet is seated, but I would like to invite my friend and my brother, Mr. Akim Lasisi, the great poet, to thank you. Please, let's give him a round of applause as he makes his way. Thank you very much. The great poet. The one who edits editors. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Ẹ̀yà má bínú rárá torí mi ò gbé èbò rárá. Ṣùgbọ́n náání tí ń bá mà ní mà ń sọ ọkàn mi àlàgbé ọmọ láìsí ní kí gbogbo lé. Ire ni mògùn kúkú ni mí. Ọyẹkẹ ti méjì wá ń dé ara làgbẹ̀dẹ ọmọ àwòrán tí ń rọ ìrìmọ̀gbọ́n ọmọ àyọ̀yọ̀ tí ń jẹ́ ìjìgbọ̀ ọjọ́. Ọ̀gá mi Ṣọlá ọmọ Oshunkeye, mo kí yín títí mo yìn títí. Orin congratulation náà ní mà ń kọ ọkàn mi àlàgbé ọmọ láìsí ní kí yín pátápátá. Adúpẹ́, mọ́lá dúpẹ́ pẹ́ òkun lórí ti bàbá. Àbídí Nàìjíríà iná kúkú kọ́, níbi tí igi ti ń dá lóko tó ń pa ara lé, ibi àjà ti ń jìn nínú ilé tí ń pẹ́ ní tí ń rìnà. Àmọ́ lọ́lá láwùrà bí bàbá ṣe 70 ó sì ọ̀yàn fàǹdà kàn mí àlàgbé ọmọ láìsí ní kúkú ń kí yín. Ǹjẹ́ ẹran mẹ́ta ni ò ṣe pánlé ayé? Lọ́lá Ọlọ́run, ọ̀nkú Ṣọlá Oshunkeye nípa kankan nínú wọn. Ẹni pẹran asán, lọ́lá Ọlọ́run ẹni pòfo, ọba òkè òní jẹ́ kẹ́ pẹran àdánù. It's a way of saying good afternoon. And the title of my poem, a tribute to the celebrator, is 70 befits you. 70 befits you. 70 befits you. You wear your revered age like a zebra's skin, like a fermented land pregnant with diamond and gold. Your footprints unfold like the pages of a classical book, and your bag is filled with virtuous things. 70 befits you. For every inch of your smile is laden with glory and grace. Fulfillment is the drum to which you privately and dexterously dance. From your tender beginnings in Ijesha land, Ìjẹ̀ṣà òṣèré onílẹ̀ òbí, ẹ̀rọ ọwọ́ ọmọ ẹlẹ́ni ẹlẹ́wẹ̀lẹ́. Ìjẹ̀ṣà, the home of medicinal kola nut and ewele mat, so intricately woven like a weaver bird's nest. Ìjẹ̀ṣà òṣèré, the land of the warriors that stood all the friends in the past and even now. Ìjẹ̀ṣà òṣèré, from your tender beginnings to the stardom we fed, Baba, your bag is filled with virtuous fruits. I say 70 befits you. Yours is steez without a stress. You who navigated industry bends on a classical note. 70 befits you. Yours is the movement from the chemical to the ink without a noise. 70 befits you. Oh, from the chemical to the ink, your trajectory was swift. 70 indeed befits you. You who had stooped to who in print had stooped to conquer the continent's media, until you now ascended the ladder of the crest and you are making your impact in the cyberspace. I indulge you, the acolytes of the celebrator. Sever my songs with Solomon's mind. My teeth I know are rotten. If I break kola nut with them, you can shun. But when I break with them a single poem, give my stinking mouth a second thought. I do not know the river where the egret washes its gowns. I could have gone there to wash my own. I do not know the forest where the gazelle preens its skin. I could have gone there to preen my own. I do not know that sacred sea or the ocean where Shola Oshunkeye, where he hinks its magical pen. I could have gone there to ferment my own. Uncle Shola, I want to write a winning story as you inspiringly did. But I am scared to follow my pen to dragon zones. I want to write a story that wins applause on the global note, but my feet are stuck to comfort zones. I want to write a story that wins the global applause, but will the judges crown my excellence when from bottom to top, my story smells AI like a masqueraded mole? Èyí náà tó mi náà ṣe kí n wá máa fèyí ṣe lọ sílé tiwa ni. Kábíyèsí o, kábíyèsí mo súnmọ́ bá níwọ̀n ẹgbẹ̀je kànmí àlàgbé mo ní mo jìnnà sọ́ba níwọ̀n ẹgbẹ̀fà. Torí pé àrọ́bá fi ń lọ bá a pa. Kábíyèsí ọ̀ràngún òní ń pa mí bàbá ọ̀yà gbà mí là ní kànmí àlàgbé ọmọ láìsí ti ń jẹ́ ìjìgbọ̀ ọjọ́. For Mama of the Day, let us give her Mama Udeme. Udeme. And that is a round of applause for Mama of the Day now, for the celebrator number 2. Udeme o, Udeme o, Udeme o, Udeme, Udeme ye, Udeme Udeme ge, Udeme constituency projects. You will be my only constituency project, Udeme. If I can rig my way into the Senate House, when others are talking about poverty projects, I will dualize the road that leads into your heart. And before the end of the quarter first, Mama, €1 million on your rosy hair. You will be my only constituency project. If I can waggle my way into the Senate House. Udeme, 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 udeme. Why bothering the earth with more bore and boreholes? When nature has given birth to Mama, the river and the well of life, instead of mending the potholes on the mainland bridge, I will order from far and call from near until I turn, Mama, your wardrobe into a marketplace. You will be my only constituency project, Mama Udeme, if I can rig my way into the Senate House. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much. Please don't stop clapping until KBAC gets here. So KBAC is going to tell us how to proceed next. Thank you so much, KBAC.
It's a great pleasure for me to take charge from our great chairman, Aremo Shegun Oshoba, representatives of the KBC, our Bokonfu Jesheland, Are Gani Adams, other distinguished Nigerians. They are seated. We try as much as possible to make the program short. The essence of why we are here is to celebrate Chief Shola Oshunkeye, Baba Ilabe, and to present a book in his honor. And we have a discussion that won't last long. It's my pleasure to invite, please, the MC, arrange the seat here. Let's have the seat here. We have a panel discussion. Dr. Lagoju, please tarry for a while. After this, I'll invite you. Okay? Thank you. The discussant, please. Tony, Dr. Tony Onyema, Mayor, Sheye Kehinde, please.
Dr. Sheye Kehinde,
Funke Egbemode,
Mrs. Funke Egbemode,
Dr. Maureen Chibo,
Dr. Maureen Chibo,
the one and only Richard Akinola,
Mr. Richard Akinola,
and Dotun Ladipo.
Mr. Dotun Ladipo. Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor Akinkwelu is already here. Thank you very much. Where are the other members of this panel? Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor Akinkwelu is here. Where are the other members of this panel? I can see Mrs. Funke Egbemode making her way. I can see Mr. Richard Akinola also making his way.
Richie.
Yeah, I think the chairs are okay. We have chairs now. Mr. Richard Akinola. I can see Chief Dr. Tony Onyema, KSM. Thank you very much. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. Honestly, when I'm in a gathering like this, I always love to advocate for generations after us. They are not represented here. And we are thinking of the next 50 years. And you know, the next 50 years, most of us in this hall, we are not going to be around. That's a fact. So next time, let us have generations after us to discuss their future. We've discussed the present in the past. We should give them the opportunity to take a peep into the future. We've spent hours. We are old. We are just trying our best. So next time, the celebrant, I want us to have the 40s, the 30s, the 20s to represent the coming generation and the roadmap to the future. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Dele Momodu is not here. He's gone. We had his paper. Please, the time is not there. Yes, please. Okay. Please, let's just have your contribution to Dele and take a projection into the future. Thank you so much. Funke, over to you. Sorry for calling you.
Good afternoon. Kabiesi is in the house. Good afternoon. Now time to be here. Our time is fast spent, especially because there are people who came from very far. When Obabolarin gets to Shogo, he will still need to do about 2 hours before he gets to his palace. So let's hit the ground running. My name is Funke Egbemode. As I've been introduced, I cut my teeth in the human interest sector of journalism, specifically prime people. And today's colloquium says, human interest journalism is dying, or we have relegated it to almost an unnoticeable corner. And you see sitting here my bosses who have done plenty in human interest. I'll start with Dr. Tony Oima, former managing director of The Sun. For a reason, I should have started with, at the extreme, with Mayor. But there is something else I want Mayor to do for us. Dr. Oima, is it true that we are no longer doing human interest journalism? Thank you.
Funke, I think you want to put me on the spot. I'm already on the spot. Yes and no. Yes, because if you do a content analysis of a typical Nigerian newspaper today, you discover that more than 70% of the content is talking about politics. We have so politicized the environment that the human interest stories have taken a backseat. I say this from, like you said, from experience. I started my journalism at The Guardian, and within The Guardian, I was privileged to edit the famous Lagos Life. And from there, I played a role in setting up the Guardian Express, where people like Mayor, we met ourselves there. And from there, I also had the privilege in setting up one of the best human interest newspaper in the country today, The Sun. And Funke, you will agree with me that for a good number of years, The Sun depended on that particular strategy and made profit, extreme profit. And somehow the economic imperatives pushed us to the middle of, a little to the left and a little to the right. And today, the economy has also contributed to the decline of human interest stories. I'll give you an example. There's a human interest story sitting in Abuja, but we, the media, cannot treat that human interest because that particular source provides us with almost on a monthly basis live transmission. And you know, live transmission, how much it is per hour. That's the economic angle. And the other one is also the decline of professionalism. If you look at this panel now, the number of experience the people on this panel will have from mayor to publisher there, you can't. I think we have also failed to replicate ourselves in the various newsrooms. That is part of the problem. As I was walking up to this podium, somebody told me that one of the reasons why there is a decline in human interest is also the rise of celebrity journalism. Celebrity journalism pushed down human interest downward the ladder. I don't know whether it's true or not, because incidentally, the keynote speaker is the grandfather of celebrity journalism. So I think we must, at one point in time, get back to that, because we are humans, and for every story has a human face. We must get back to that for us to be humans again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mayor, I saw you shaking your head. Just keep taking notes. We are not coming to you yet. Because I know you've been at this for a long time. I want you to hear all of us. Baba Richie, what is the place of the industry's economy and the way we are looking away from the things that should touch all of us and sticking with the hard one? Because for me, because of where I started from, every story has a human angle. Whether you are reporting budgeting or electioneering, there is a soft side, a human angle, indeed a celebrity journalism angle that can be introduced to any story. Why are we not able to maintain that balance?
What I think basically is because our focus shifted to hard news. Many of us here, at least my own generation, we grew up with Lagos Weekend newspaper, which was basically a human interest newspaper. And Lagos Weekend used to be the highest selling paper, even more than Daily Times, even though it was being published by Daily Times, but it sold more than Daily and Sunday Times. So then before Weekend conquered. But I think it's because we shifted to politics and hard news. Let me give an example. When we started Guardian, I was a pioneer in Guardian, and Guardian was hard. You could write 2 full pages of news story in Guardian, 2 full pages. And I recall that when I was covering the courts, Femi Kusa used to tell me that, look, that Guardian was different and I should take my stories from different perspective, that tomorrow, that every paper will know what Punch will write, what Daily Times will write, but I should take my story from a different perspective. So, and I recall one particular incident during Decree 4 trial in 1984, when I was covering Decree 4. And after I wrote my story, it was when Rotty Williams, who was the counsel to Guardian, was trying to define one particular aspect, one particular word. And something now struck me that I should take my story from that. And when I got back to the newsroom, and when Kusa was asking me what happened, so I told him that this is what happened, but I want to take this story from this perspective. And how did I start the story? That Rotty Williams came to the courts with a big dictionary to define what was published, the word publish. Did Unduka and Tule Thompson publish? And that he came with Webster's dictionary. And that was the anchor of that story. Webster, what's the difference? What has dictionary got to do with somebody facing charges of false publication? And I took that story, and since that time, we started taking that story from different perspectives, not from the regular objection or no objection. So to try to humanize it. And now, when I now moved to Guardian and to Vanguard in 1984, you are talking about extreme difference from very serious newspaper to human interest, soft, short stories in Guardian, in Vanguard. And it took a long time before Uncle Sam told me that, look, this your Guardian mentality has to change. Because I will write story, wow, long distance. Uncle Sam said, look, Richard, this is Vanguard, this is not Guardian. So, and that's how the issue of my column came up. To the extent, I even wrote about it a few days ago on my page, to the extent that I humanize a particular aspect which Jessica Odeisho now referenced. I wrote in my column, it was at the height of local standard issue, many cases being thrown away due to lack of local standard. So, and I wrote this local standard itself. That was the title of that particular column. So, and I humanized it. The next day, I was at the Supreme Court, and there was an argument on local standard. I didn't know that Kyle Show had cited me where I sat down. So, and he now turned to where I sat and looked at me and said, this local standard safe. That's why I knew that he was actually an avid reader of my column. And that actually showed that beyond the strong, hard stuff, you could actually humanize what happened in court. And do you know that when you go to Instagram today, and even on TikTok, most of the likes and readership have to do with human angle stuff, which newspapers can now humanize. So I know that we're an era of politics where everybody has to write about politics, but I still strongly believe that this is one aspect that still needs to be assessed, human angle story. Because, for example, there are some stories on my wall, on my Facebook wall. Most of the comments and reactions I get are usually human angle stories. And I'm talking about stories of 1940s, 1950s, from Waka, from Privy Council, to all these things. Most of those stories are what interests people. So if that is now translated into publication, it doesn't have to be printed. It could be in digital format. I still believe that that's, the message can still be sent through that kind of format.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to now come to the two people here who are publishers. Both of them are former presidents of Guild of Online Publishers, Maureen and Dotun. Maureen and I had been on the same table since we arrived. And we started talking about, do we, veterans and living ancestors in this hall, do we have successors? Or are we just a dying breed? Are we passing anything on? I'll go to you, Maureen. You started an argument that we all had to listen to your angle that was a bit different from what all of us were thinking. Is it that there is more money to be made from doing those short, not too deep stuff, when you compare to just doing politics, or there's more money to be made in political electioneering, reporting, talking about INEC? Because I know, for instance, now, if I say, let us talk about, listen attentively now. If we were to talk about the Strait of Hormuz and how it has affected our petrol tank, and I also, in my own way, you know, I'm the joint chairman of National Assembly Committee on Intimate Affairs. If I now say, let us domesticate the Strait of Hormuz and how it affects the other room, which one will have more clicks and which one will make more money? Is it that we can make more money somewhere than in the other place? As a publisher who also had to pay salaries, which did you put first? The hard stuff or the human stuff?
It's a privilege to be part of this panel, and also to say a hearty congratulations, happy birthday. You raised a very pertinent issue, and it all depends on the style of the media house to know what to do. Some media house, as my speakers here have pointed out, are hard news oriented, like The Guardian. And then Vanguard is also human interest more, and they have their style cut out for them. So if you, and again, it depends on your niche, who your newspaper is focusing on. And if you are focusing on the masses, like the Vanguard, then you know you will have to humanize your stories more. But you are focusing on the political elites, who are the decision makers in the boardrooms, and you know you have to be more of hard news. But the point remains that human interest story is declining. And why is it declining? It is declining because of disruptive innovation we have had over the years. Technology has disrupted the way we do news, the way we process information, the way we gather information, the way we disseminate information. So technology has also raised a new breed of citizen journalists. So while the traditional media, while they are losing grip because of resources and journalism and focusing on algorithm, the citizen journalists are doing more of what we used to do. So they are focusing on raw details, focusing on the people, focusing on the community, focusing on going deep into where people are having issues. If there are accidents, you will see that the citizen reporters, the citizen journalists are the one providing all the human interest stories. Unlike before, when there was no technology, and the mainstream media reporter, who is not at the scene of the accident, will have to rely on eyewitness reporting to tell the story the way it used to be. So we are gaining and at the same time losing because of technology. And on this, I say that all hope is not lost for human interest stories. And I also say this based on the fact that I am basically a business and economic reporter, so I focus more on oil and gas and do business stories. So when I tell my reporters when I was in Newswatch, go and humanize this story, the hard facts are not going to make sense to our readers. We did that a lot. But now technology has made it possible for people to work remotely and made it possible for us to also mentor people in the newsroom like the way we used to do in the newsroom. And in those good old days, you will say reporters learn from the editor's pencil. Now, there is no pencil. There is no reporter picking up copies to learn. You can't even find them to mentor them, to tell them what to do. So that's where the legacy media is having really a lot of issues. And the other day, yesterday, I was at Vanguard event, and I told a fellow colleague, please, I'm looking for a journalist. He said that he's also looking. And do you know how old I am? That most of the journalists that have covered this event 30 years ago, they are the ones still reporting the capital market going there. So where are the new breed? And that dovetails into what the Oba talked about, that we have to involve them when we're having this kind of discussion, so that we have to know precisely how we can integrate the knowledges we will gain from each other to make them to understand where the dynamics of the journalism landscape that has been greatly disrupted by innovation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So I'll come to Dotun. Mayor, I hope you are noting everything because you'll be rounding it up. Now, how do we blend the new generation technology savvy journalists and what they want to do in a hurry and accurate reporting of the legacy media, the hard stuff, and we have salaries to pay? How do we blend all of this? Because there are too many moving parts. For me, my last job in mainstream media, I saw that it was a difficult balancing act. Now with technology thrown into the mix, how do you make money, do human interest, do in-depth work, and stay afloat?
Well, let me start from the fact that it's going to be difficult bringing in this Gen Z into the mainstream. And the reason is this. While so many of us are trying to stay with our old reputation, these guys have gone far ahead. There are so many of them who are just on Instagram, on X, who are making thousands every month in dollar. While we are saying to ourselves, we want to maintain our reputation. I had a discussion with the MD and editors of a national newspaper in this country some years back. And I said, the only way out in which you can sell hard copies again is by putting on a daily basis human interest stories on your cover. Because what we think is, if we start doing that, the politicians, the businessmen, they are going to overlook us. But a few things I've learned in the last few years that we've been publishing the Eagle Online, I've seen very clearly that those who are scared of offending, they are the ones who read more human interest stories. And I'm going to cite examples. The only reason that those who are operating online now are finding it difficult to survive is because we are not being priced adequately or appropriately. Otherwise, if
the giant that is called Google will do what it is doing in other continents in Africa, a lot of us will be making more money than those who are operating in other clients. If those who are the business people are going to price us appropriately, we'll be making more money because they sit and feast on human interest stories that are published. That is why you see somebody on X can tell you, I made 30 million naira this month, because they are feeding them with all of these things that we are scared of projecting to the public. And we've got to begin to think about this business model. Do we want to run just business and politics stories on our front page in order to look good? Or do we want to do a mix? Do we want to go to our website and redesign it in a way that there will always be something for people to read? So many people don't pay attention to these things because they feel my image is important. I won't take too much time. I'm going to cite about 2 or 3 examples. Now, there is a man here who runs QED. His name is Olumide Yoda. I don't know if anything has changed, but in the last 4 or 5 years, he ran a story on Saheed Osupa changing homes. And that story was like magic.
Fire.
It was unexpected. About 7 or 8 years ago, we in the Igbo Online, we ran a story, 5 fruits that increase libido. And from Abuja, and talking specifically about the National Assembly now, I won't be mentioning names, senators, members of House of Reps, they called me. In fact, one said to me, my driver is in the market now, but they are asking him for the local names of those food. Outside, don't want us to protect. What are we doing? In fact, I know of people in banks who have told me that their founders, they read certain columns, including this erotic Monday night. I'm talking of the chairmen of banks, at least 2 of them, they look forward to it. So when we are talking about these things, it looks like, why are people talking about sex? Why are they doing this? There is nothing Mrs. Ebemode is going to publish. Once I see it, I will publish because I know people will come for it. So we should stop, in my own estimation, thinking that it is all about politics and business. And like some people have said and researched too, in a difficult and depressed economy, people want to relax. Let's allow them to relax.
Thank you very much. Can we have a round of applause for that? Because we are all first and foremost human before we are politicians and businessmen. And I assure you, I've been writing about relationships since 1989. There is nobody who does not want to relate to what he or she can relate to. It's easier to relate to certain things. That is why I believe that if you are going to talk about this Saturday environmental sanitation, it is easier to draw people into a conversation about it when you tell the government, like I did, that the time for environmental sanitation is too short. Should start at 7 and finish at 12, so we can keep the men at home till noon. We are still talking about environmental sanitation, right? Well, let the men stay home and also clear other cobwebs. Now, Lord Mayor, so now that you have listened to everybody, can we bring back prime people? Okay. Vintage people. Today's choice. All the human interest stories, fame, global excellence, encomium, city people. Is it possible for us to do them online? Since nobody wants to go to the vendors, And then please do share your beginnings with us in this business.
Thank you very much. Let me start by saying that celebrity journalism did not contribute to decline of human interest because celebrity journalism itself is human interest. So that's it. But you see, the problem is, let me start with what everybody has said too. When journalists were doing human interest stories, they were doing it and it was very rewarding. When I joined Prime People from Guardian Express, before I joined Prime People, they were doing what we used to call strange stories. Our lead reporter then, Oriri Ajaba Senior, was more like an herbalist. So he would write about areas where people don't talk or animals used to do things and all that. When I joined, I was able to convince my boss, Mr. Muyiwa Adetiba, that let's do something different. So we started celebrity journalism. I remember that the first story was the Tejo Oshunkeye wedding, and it sold very well. So, and most of our stories, interview with Akim Olajuwon and all that. But what I've realized is that, and when you move from there, and you look, as at that time, Prime People was the largest circulation of any paper in Nigeria at that time. When we moved from there, I moved to Weekend Concord. When Makanwo Infa and his crew started Weekend Concord also had the largest circulation of any newspaper at that time. So that is economically rewarding is not in doubt. But unfortunately, things changed. Things changed because what we make from the street was not enough to sustain the medium. So people started going to where the money is. So they started writing about politics and usually business, because when you have a strong business paper, you can attract adverts from banks and all that. So politics and business seems to take over. But I think that the main problem that we have now has to do with the World Wide Web. The internet came and changed the game. Because now people don't want to wait for 1 week to read Weekend Concord, or want to wait 1 week to read a magazine. Even to these wide newspapers who continue to endure is because people need them as a medium of record and all that. But the internet has changed how news is seen and accepted. People want their news on the go, and because of that, it gave rise to citizen journalists who are there, who can give you the news just like that, on the break, on the go. You don't need to, and you can get whatever you want. So you don't, the traditional media lost out. So right now, it is not possible to publish all those magazines. All these magazines that you've mentioned, they're all online now because they cannot survive in the street. It's not possible because there won't be that financial support from readers who will buy the newspapers for it to survive. So unfortunately, that's the way things are. And that's the way that is the way you can relate to news now. Because if somebody gets frustrated and drives to Tommy Land Bridge, decided to take a dive, it is the guy that is around there. Because of Android and iPhones, he can easily report the news, tell people what has happened, and it will go viral. So that is the way news is now. We have to accept that things have changed. Yes, and so I don't really agree that there is a decline in human interest stories. I don't think so. The only difference is that the platform where we receive such human angle stories has changed. And now we have to accept that the internet has changed things. We have to up our games, and that is where to go. Thank you.
Okay. Iche has 1 minute.
I think there's something Dr. and Maureen said that we shouldn't gloss over about technology. There are two issues here. The old guard who were really doing the human interest story, as it were very late in joining technology trade. And they say, space. The young guy, the Gen Z, quickly went to the platform and occupied space. And they were making very good, very unprofessional, but they are making money. Then you, that is a professional, we're still afraid to become even the digital immigrants. Our visa have not been even approved. Some of us have not even applied. So it's a great problem. And the legacy media, like Maureen pointed out, are still operating the same business model as 1989. It is not possible. No newspaper can run today with a staff of 100 people or 50 people. It's not possible. You have to change the business model and collapse and get only the critical staff. And it's been done elsewhere. There's a study I read recently about New York Times, how they change, and they're making money now. Boston Globe, and a whole lot of them. So I just felt that I should point out this, that we have refused to apply for a visa to join the internet, and the business model, we are still running the old type. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I want to thank all of us on this side of the divide. This is the kind of discussion that we can spend 3 hours on, because I'm sure there are people seated in this room who also want to ask questions, who also want to contribute. But it's already 2 o'clock. And some of us living ancestors, it's already past lunchtime. And we still have something very interesting to do. I want to just say that, Mr. Oshunkeye, you're going to have to do this again. Baba Elabe, you are going to have to do this again. And we will support you if it becomes an annual event. Let's discuss ourselves. Since we are discussing everybody else, let us also discuss ourselves. Thank you very much. And all of us who have made it here today, may the Lord bless us and continue to water our careers. Thank you very much. Kabiesi, thank you.
Dr. Lasisi Olagunju, please let's give him a round of applause. Dr. Lasisi Olagunju, please let's give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bring it down, bring it down, bring it down. Doctor, please, I need you to be here. Let me just tell them 1 or 2 things about you before I hand over the microphone to you. Kabiesis, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, here is Dr. Lasisi Olagunju. Dr. Lasisi Olagunju is a multiple award-winning newspaper columnist. He was Nigerian Media Merit Award, NMMA, Newspaper Columnist of the Year, 2016 and 2024. And also the winner of Nigeria's Diamond Award for Media Excellence, DAME, for informed commentary. For informed commentary writing in 2019, 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024. Can we give him a round of applause? Thank you very much. He was admitted into the honorary fellowship of the Nigerian Academy of Letters in August 2025. Olagunju attended the Great Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, where he bagged the first-class honors Bachelor of Arts degree in English Studies. He was at the University of Ibadan for his master's and PhD respectively in Communication Arts and Political Communication. He holds a degree in law. Currently, he's the editor of Saturday Tribune. Please, can we give a resounding round of applause to Dr. Lasisi Olagunju as he takes us through the book. byline, and backbone. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Kabiesi, the chairman, ladies and gentlemen. Chief Shola Oshunkeye may not be a playwright, but what he has assembled in this book, Byline and Backbone, is drama, raw, unscripted, and profoundly human. His stories unfold like stage scenes, complete with characters, tension, conflict, and climax. In other words, journalism in Byline and Backbone is not merely the gathering of facts. It is theater, tense, unpredictable, and deeply human. It is a stage where words conceal as much as they reveal, and where silence often speaks louder than speech. I begin with two unforgettable scenes in the book. One built on evasion, the other on irreversible action. January 1997. Two journalists walked into Synagogue Church of All Nations in the Kotun area of Lagos. There was a story to pursue and questions to ask. Shola Oshunkeye and Eric Osagi had watched a secretly filmed video showing how football star Nwankwo Kanu slipped into the country to seek spiritual help in that church for his ailing heart. Now, the question they went there to ask was, who made the video and who leaked the video? They met Temitope Joshua, exchanged the usual courtesies, and then asked the first question: do you think Kanu can play football again? Pastor Joshua said, I respect the privacy of people. That was his response. He was clearly evasive, but the visiting hunters were masters in catching evasive birds. So they asked again, is Nwankwo Kanu the most popular person to have come to your church so far? And he replied, for now, I won't comment on Kanu. They asked again, Pastor, the reason we are asking is that the video of you and Kanu that your people just showed us, some may think it is staged, that it was prearranged. And Prophet Joshua replied, you watched the video. I don't know you watch any video. But if you have watched it, then believe your eyes. Is either you believe your eyes or you don't. They ask again. But might it be possible that Kanu was not aware he was being filmed? Was he? He threw it back to them. Did you record Kanu? That was the pastor asking the journalist. And then they went direct. Or is it ethical? When a pastor cancels someone, should that be recorded? Is it proper? Prophets. The only answer they got from Prophet Joseph was, The back and forth continued like that. But the streetwise Pastor Joseph refused to be broken. He won't give what journalists wanted. But where I come from, if a load won't sit in the rafters and won't sit on the floor, there is always somewhere else to place it. So the next question they asked Prophet Joshua was, how did you start your church, the synagogue? And he said, Haba, you people just want me to say something. End of Act 1, Scene 1. From this theater of words, I follow Oshunkeye as he moves the reader into another story, a hall of tragic action, one so stark and horrifying that language itself seems inadequate. Published in Weekend Concord of March 2, 1996, this next report reconstructs with forensic precision the events leading to one of the most disturbing domestic tragedies told in Nigerian journalism. The story is introduced with a line of chilling simplicity. We are going to heaven. It is a mother speaking to her children. It is also the threshold of tragedy. At about 9 p.m. on Thursday, February 29, 1996, a 34-year-old housewife took her 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls, out of her matrimonial home. She told them they were going to heaven with her. The eldest, a girl, resisted. She said, no, mommy, I am not going to that heaven with you. The woman ignored her. One after the other, she began pushing the children into the river Agboye at Ketu, Lagos. She threw in a boy. then a girl, then another boy. She reached for the last boy, threw him into the water, but the girl's resistance broke the sequence. Defeated, the woman turned inward. In one final motion, Patricia Etufua completed the circle of horror. She plunged into the river with her 17-month-old child strapped to her back. But her story did not end there. Even in death, the story refuses to soften. In the hands of Oshunkeye, the story never ends. The retrieval of the bodies is rendered in stark, unforgettable detail by Oshunkeye. Listen to him, I'm quoting him. By 4:37 p.m. the following day, when fishermen recovered the bodies, the river had done its silent work. In less than 20 hours, fishes had plucked out the woman's eyes, eaten off an ear, and torn her face. The child's body also bore the marks: eyes gone, ear missing, jaw exposed. It was a scene beyond grief, suspended between the human and the unspeakable. Now, the interview with Prophet Joshua reads like a duel of voices, where evasion and persistence collide in a slow, burning contest of will. The Lagos drowning tragedy, on the other hand, is pure tragic theater with a cheesy opening line: "We are going to heaven," and an ending that offers no redemption, only silence. Across this book, Oshunkeye demonstrates an instinct for dramatic construction. He knows where to begin, how to build tension, and when to deliver the devastating tone. His journalism does not merely inform, it performs. You can tell how competently a book is put together from its opening architecture, the foreword, preface, introduction, and the arrangement of chapters. Conventionally, a foreword is written by someone other than the author, usually an authority in the field. It tells readers why the book matters and why it deserves their attention. Byline and backbone breaks form, but in a way that strengthens it. It offers not one, but 3 forewords written by distinguished figures in Nigerian journalism: Nosai Gebo, Mike Awonifa, and Dari Babarinsa, 3 eminent voices. Across their contributions, each does exactly what a good foreword should. They situate the book within the craft, the culture, and the corny of journalism. They make a compelling case for why it must be read. It is in one of the forewords that you read that Oshunkaye's very first assignment as a journalist was, I'm quoting Mike Awonifa, for him to go out and interview women. Would they make the first move if they saw a man they found attractive sitting alone in a restaurant? The editor who gave him that assignment in 1989 wrote in 2026 that, I'm quoting him, Oshunkeye went out, found his voices, and returned with a story that was fresh, engaging, and publishable. It earned a place in the center spread. From that moment, Oshunkeye never looked back, unquote. The preface, properly the author's own space, explains how and why the book came into being. On page Roman figure 12, Oshunkeye fulfills that obligation with clarity and purpose, offering readers both context and intent. There are pages of acknowledgement that mention almost every journalist who had things to do with Oshunkeye. He has a space for his colleagues in Weekend Concord, in Tell and The Sun. If you work with him in any of those places, your name is in this book. Traditionally, the introduction prepares the reader for what lies ahead. This book has none, and interestingly, it needs none. What it lacks in the formal introduction is more than compensated for by the combined weight of the 3 forewords, an editor's notes, and a comprehensive preface, all of which together perform the work of orientation with admirable sufficiency. From powerful opening stories of famine, evasion, suicide, and acid, Byline and Backbone unfolds as a monumental archive of Nigerian journalism, spanning almost 500 pages and organized into multiple thematic chapters that read not like a linear autobiography, but as a curated gallery of lively encounters. Each chapter houses a story, and each story becomes a window into both the society Oshunkeye reports and the sensibility with which he reports it. We have here a 43-chapter book of interviews, news features, reviews. Some chapters combine all these content types. In some, they come alone. In others, in pairs. But I insist, they are acts and scenes in the drama of life, coherently strewn, sewn, and scripted by Oshunkeye. The book structure is deceptively simple. It is a compilation, yes, but a deliberate one. The stories are randomly assembled. They are arranged to reflect the breadth of Shola Osunkeye's career. Human interests, crime, politics, conflicts, investigative reporting. The effect is cumulative. Charity begins at home. So says Sir Thomas Browne and William Shakespeare, 1607. His journey begins outside the country. This book inverts that logic. His journey begins outside the country, in famine-ravaged Niger Republic, a country the author describes as the graveyard of the living. From there, it pivots to murder of all suicides, the Lagos tragedy I have just retold. Then comes a journalist's own brush with violence, an acid attack that collapses the distance between observer and victim. But the book is not all horror. Relief comes in quieter, more human moments. The soft voice of a governor's mother who tells Oshunkeye she will, I'm quoting her, she will die selling palm oil. That tonal modulation between terror and tenderness, spectacle and stillness runs through the collection to the very end. By the time one moves through the chapters, one has done more than read a body of work. One has traced the evolution of a journalistic mind. Consider the opening story, Niger's Graveyard of the Living. Originally published on August 29, 2005, it is a master class in immersive reporting. The prose is relentless, the imagery unforgettable. In that story, Oshunkeye does not summarize famine, he stages it before the reader. A dying child, Ibrahim, becomes the center of a scene that is almost unbearable in its detail. Oshunkeye described the child. His eyes were sunken, and you could count all the bones in his skeletal system almost effortlessly, unquote. The story builds through accumulation, story after story, face after face, until the reader is overwhelmed by the scale of suffering. And yet, even in the midst of this devastation, Oshunkeye finds moments of eerie calm. A woman chanting Alhamdulillah, smilingly, she wrapped her only child's body. It is this juxtaposition, horror and resignation, tragedy and faith that defines the author's narrative power. It should not surprise anyone that this Niger Republic story will go on to win the CNN Multi-Choice African Journals of the Year Award in 2006, in recognition not just of its content, but of its craft. But it should be a surprise that the story only got nominated for our own NMMA. There's another striking piece, Acid. See what they did to journalist Alifa Daniel, dated October 17, 1992. It is a report that captures the vulnerability of journalists themselves. Here, the reporter becomes the reported. The account is breathless. The reporter writes, quoting, "They bathed Alifa Daniel with acid and turned his very handsome face to a monstrous mess." Note the alliteration there. The victim's own voice adds a chilling layer. If they had had guns with them, they would have shot me dead. Neat. Readers will find in this more than a story of violence. It is a commentary on the risks embedded in the profession. By including such a piece, Oshunkeye softly inserts himself into the narrative, not as a subject, but as a part of a community constantly negotiating danger. His interviews are penetrative, gently inquisitorial, like poison administered in small doses. His questions are warheads. He knows no-go areas. Read his post-villa interview with his friend and brother Femi Adesina on page 99 and see how cold-blooded Oshunkeye could be. His friend and brother, Kunle Ajibade, was in Abacha's jail for an alleged coup plotting. Oshunkeye interviewed his wife and asked all questions, including how she was coping with the urge to have sex since her husband left home 9 months earlier. Page 48. Across these stories, a pattern emerges. Oshunkeye is drawn to moments of extreme human experience, death, suffering, crisis, revelation. But what distinguishes his work is not just his choice of subjects, it is his method. He writes with a style that is at once literary and precise. His sentences are carefully constructed. They are blessed with rhythm and rich in imagery, yet they never lose sight of the factual core. His future writing style I would describe as cinematic realism. His scenes unfold visually. Characters are introduced with detail. Dialogue is used sparingly but effectively. Consider the repeated use of direct speech in the suicide story, defaming reports, and the paragraphs that introduce the interviews. These voices grant the narrative. They give it authenticity and immediacy. Yet, perhaps the most compelling aspect of Baile and Backbone is its implicit autobiographical quality. Though Oshunkeye told me insistently that the book is not biographical, but I say here that it functions unmistakably as a biography of practice. The author's life is not narrated in dates and events. It is revealed through choices, what he reports, how he reports it, and why. Why Baile and Backbone? I asked Shola Oshunkeye, and he told me, quoting him, Byline because nothing intoxicates me more than seeing my name on a story, saying I was there, I saw it, hold me accountable. And Backbone because good reporting demands spine, conviction, legwork, and the courage to tell what others would rather conceal. Without that spine, no journalist can endure the risks or the drudgery of uncovering truths. But I told Oshunkeye that his interview questions merit his subjects. They lack milk of human kindness. He laughed and told me and replied, he said, Ujuboro, koni won fi ngba omo lowo ekuro. Curated from Weekend Concord, Tell and the Sun, spanning from 1991 to 2025. This collection shows how epochal Osunkeye's career has been. His reports and interviews straddled all genres and desks of journalism. They cover politics and sports, religion and entertainment. And while reporting all this, he humanized them all. Dr. Alex Ekweme was Nigeria's vice president from 1979 to 1993. Oshunkeye conducted the old man's very last interview shortly before his death. If anyone today, whether in Abuja or in Lagos, thinks anyone is renewing hope for Nigeria, they should read the Ekweme interview on page 142 of this book. The headline that attracts from Oshunkeye is, Nigeria is not worth dying for. And if you think the former VP was wrong, there's another story on page 318, dated September 14, 1991. A taxi driver who had never seen 5,000 naira in his life found and returned 20,000 naira forgotten in his car by his passenger. The man got famous, but his wife left him. The title of the piece is, Wife Deserts Nigeria's Most Honest Man for Returning Money. When armed robbers attacked Fuji Lord Koninti Ayinla in May 1996, Oshunkeye was at his hospital bedside with questions that produced a story headlined, May armed robbers not overthrow Abacha. In this sense, Baile and Backbone is not just a collection of stories. It is a cultural biography. It documents the author's career. It documents the culture of Nigerian journalism, the risks, the ethics, the pressures, and the triumphs. It captures a period when journalism was both a profession and a calling, a period when it demanded courage as much as skill to be a reporter. There is a chapter for an Oba who teaches in the secondary school. Oshunkeye met Oba Adedokun Abolarin, the Rongon of Okela, in his school, teaching and he questioned him why. The Oba, pointing at the students, told him, I'm quoting the Oba, this is my future. This is their future. Whenever I'm not in the palace, I'm here working. I should not end this rather long review without stressing that from what I see on these pages, a key trait of Shola Oshunkye's journalism is persistence. The instinct to return. For the star-studded journalist, every story demands a follow-up. With him, a story does not end. He goes back to the crime scene in search of meaning, even if only for a postmortem. The acid attack story of October 17, 1992, for instance, finds an echo in a March 12, 1994 revisit. Proof that in his hands, a story is never truly finished. In the final analysis, Baila and Bagbo is a remarkable achievement. It is a book that operates on multiple levels, as a collection of journalism, as a cultural document, and as an unconventional biography of Nigerian journalism. It captures the essence of a profession that is often misunderstood and undervalued, revealing its complexity, its challenges, and its enduring relevance. The collection is more than a history of stories. It's a handbook and a workstation for any journalist desirous of making excellence a career. Now, if you are a Christian and you think Lazarus was the only one to die and live again, read this book by Shola Oshunkeye. The book begins with stories of hunger and death abroad. It ends with the journalist's own personal tragedies. There is a quiet elegy for his father. The headline he gives that piece says it all. How my father, my hero, died, resurrected, and then died. 3 of his concluding paragraphs read like A Death in the Family by James Agee. He has chapter 40 for his father. Chapters 41 and 42 are devoted to what he called his brothers in heaven. The man lost 2 siblings, one aged 60, the second 55. I quote him here for effects. Losing 2 brothers within 8 months, a cross too heavy for any family to bear, a cross no mother should carry. As I write this, our mother is still inconsolable. She brightens up one moment, weeks buckets in another. But what can we do? In Oshunkaye's world, the journalist becomes a reluctant celebrant of personal tragedies. Journalism becomes in Oshunkaye's hands more than a profession. It becomes a form of storytelling that is at once investigative and interpretive, factual and emotional, immediate and enduring. It is, in the fullest sense of the word, an art. And byline and backbone is its canvas. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for listening.
Yo, I'm happy to be in the South to set off my tour in the countryside. But who better to set it off for me than this man right here?
Still grateful. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anything and everything journalism. I think everybody here should try and then get a copy. That's one advantage of having been in charge of the microphone. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, most respectfully, humbly, I would like to invite the chairman of this occasion, Kabiyesi Adedokun Abolari, to come tell us how to proceed, especially as it concerns the unveiling of the book, Byline and Backbone, a lifetime of big and impactful stories. Kabiyesi.
Please, we have to do everything because time is of essence now. The representative of Kabiyesi Owa, Are, please up here. The grandfathers of journalism now, Nosa Igebo, please join us. Dari Babarinsa, Mrs. Dimba Igwe, please join us, please, to unveil. Chief Oluolamiti, if you know you are 70 and above, mainly. Okay, all right. And please, all of you, please join us, please.
It's your mind that tricks you into believing every time. Love will turn you around. Well, it's your heart.
Chief Oluolamiti, please.
Staying where
Thank you very much. Just take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy. Take it easy.
You tell you don't have the time. So you move away fast, but you know it won't last, cause you can't get it off of your mind. Thoughts around.
Kabiesi. Kabiesi. This is our chief launcher. I want her to stand beside you. Madam, please. No, Kabiesi is not saying anything. I just say she should stand beside Kabiesi. Thank you very much.
Please direct us accordingly, the MC, to unveil. It's a great honor for us to be here. And we've listened to the book review. Please, Kabiesi, let us, the chief launcher, let us just.
Thank you very much. Please, can we make a call? Okay, Kabiesi, go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Ṣe kékeré, ẹ bá mi sọ Kábíyèsí. Thank you very much. Ọwá ń kí yín. On behalf of Ọwá Olókun,
Ọwá.
I recognize all the personages here. I recognize the chairman, himself, a huge Kábíyèsí of Okela, Kábíyèsí. I recognize the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò, the 15th one in Yoruba land, Ààrẹ Gani Adam. And then I recognize the Odole Owa and Yeye Odole Owa, who really should be here. And naturally, I recognize Yeye Ashiwaju, Dr. Mrs. Olubisi Ashiwaju, the wife of our Colossus Ashiwaju of Ijesha land. Now, Owa asked me to pray for Chief Shola Oshunkeye. Owa is not just the father of the day here, he is the father of the day, but he's also the traditional father of the celebrants. Chief Oshunkeye, Omo wa ni ere, Omo wa, Omo okun. Omo olóko ọfọ sọ ni bí ọ̀nìyàn. Omo olóko rẹ̀rẹ̀rẹ̀ láàfin. Ọmọ alẹ́ ní àtẹ̀ká. Ọmọ alẹ́ ní ẹwẹ́lẹ́. Wàá gbó wàá tọ́. Baba says I should tell you that you are going to witness at least 3 scores more of this. And Amen. So shall it be. Amen. I recognize all my colleagues here. I should be there wearing my shirt here like my sisters, Funke and Maureen. But because I am here, being chief of staff to Owa, I have to tie my head tie because I'm the traditional chief, the staff of office is following me around. I wish I could be there, but I welcome you all for celebrating one of our own. May God celebrate all of us. And those who have been celebrated will continue to rejoice. Others will continue to be lifted up. Thank you for coming. Owa said I should greet all of you. I should pray for all of you that as you came here in peace, you will get back to your different homes in peace. And you will rejoice like Chief Oshunkeye and his wife today.
Thank you very much.
We will expect you at home for a more rejoicing celebration. Having said that, on behalf of Baba, I am going to buy 5 copies of this book for ₦1 million, which I have sent to Chief.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You say Kábíyèsí now?
Kábíyèsí. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Giwa, over to Ààrẹ.
The Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land.
Congratulations to my dear brother, Shola Oshunkeye. Maybe some of you don't know. Shola Oshunkeye happened to be Baroyin, Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò of Yoruba land.
Borrowing.
So I was happy and highly delighted to witness this occasion. But what I noticed from Mr. Oshunkeye, the spirit of humanity, with his experience and in the circle of journalism in Nigeria, all over the world, they respect him a lot. You will still see the respect in him. I'm happy to be here today. Mr. Oshunkeye is the friend of the house. Even when we are in the stage of Alal Mole, he do visit us when I was living in Festac. And mind you, this man will stay in my house for a period of 6 hours. We'll be discussing a lot of issues. Sometimes family matter, sometimes state of the nation. And for the past 2 hours that I have an opportunity to be in this event, most of the journalists that I have not met for the period of 5 years, I have the opportunity to meet them. Those people that shaped our life when we started the struggle. Those people that project us to the state we have today. You can't underrate journalists in any society. They are the mirror of the society. They always act like a lecturer, and every star in the society or someone in the stage of stand-up always be their student. If they don't project you very well, there is no way the public can accept you in the society. You have done a lot of works. You have promoted a lot of figures beyond the content in your book. So it's very, very important. It's very pertinent to celebrate you today. But we cannot celebrate you alone. I believe God Almighty will celebrate you. Papa Oshoba, I've already said that he will be here in 10 years' time to celebrate 80 years birthday. I, Iba Gani Adams, will be here in 10 years' time, 20 years' time, 90, and celebrate you in 100 in 30 years' time. And God will make so. Ashele Yuba Gurie. And Lafia Ogoro. Ọlọ́run bíi Elédùmarè á fún ẹ. Ò tí ì lówó, owó tí ń dẹ́rù wòṣì lẹ́yìn birthday tó ṣe yìí. Ọlọ́run bíi Elédùmarè á wá sílẹ̀kùn ẹ̀ fún ẹ. Ó ti rán ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn lọ́wọ́, ṣùgbọ́n àwọn èèyàn díẹ̀ ló gbé ẹ. Ṣùgbọ́n èyí tó ṣe yìí o, ilẹ̀kùn àánú rẹ̀ á ṣílédè o. Congratulations, my brother. Ṣé mọ̀ pé Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò wa ò dàbí ti Abíọ́lá? But I will launch this book with 500,000 naira. 5 copies, please. 500,000.
Thank you, Iba Gani.
Thank you very much, sir, Iba Gani Adams. Kabiesi, you have the floor, sir.
Please, if you're willing to launch handsomely, please join us. But all of us must pick a copy of this all-important book to support our friend and brother, Chief Shola Oshunkeye. Thank you. Odoli, over to you. What else?
Goodwill messages.
Good afternoon, everybody.
From
my name is I Chief Makojola Afolabi, the Odoli of Jesaland. I am Shola Oshunkeye. We started secondary school the same day in 1970 in Ilesha Grammar School. We are classmates. Shola, I congratulate you today. Long life and prosperity. I'm launching this book with 250,000 naira.
Thank you very much, sir. 250,000 naira. Thank you very, very much. And the money is here, cash. Thank you so much, sir. We're very, very grateful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, I need our ushers to move around the hall with copies of the book. 20,000 naira each. Now, I have... All right. All right, all right. Bring down the volume of the music. Bring down the volume of the music. All right. Ebo wants our delectable and dazzling mommy here to tell us something. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
She is the wife of the Ashiwaju.
Yes.
Of Ijesha land.
Yes. I'm Yeye Ashiwaju, Dr. Olubisi Fashiri. Before launching, back to the journalist in the house. We've talked about what do we do now? How many of you journalists, do you ever go to the universities to see how you are able to mentor them? I'm sure the reviewer went to University of Ibadan, and I know we have the the Communication and Language Arts, Development Communication. What are you guys doing? Do you go to the universities? I think it is very essential for you to do that, because you're not just going to go there to teach, you would also learn a lot. So I believe that might be a good way to actually bridge, to build a bridge between the old and the new people. So that's very essential. After that, I would like to say that on behalf of my husband, Ashiwaju Olayinka Fashiri, the Ashiwaju of Ijesha land, who holds my brother in very high esteem, who is unavoidably absent here because initially we were looking at Monday before the event was moved to today. So on behalf of my husband, I'll be launching 2 copies of the book for 250,000 naira.
Please.
Thank you. And I wish
Can
you
have
the
the 2
very
copies,
best.
2 copies, 2
You will keep
copies.
looking young. Yes. No,
Thank you
don't
very
look
much.
70 by any
Thank you
means
very much.
at all.
Thank you very much, Yeye. Thank you. Thank you. We're grateful. Asiwaju really carry eye go market. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, bring down the volume of the music. Copies of the book are available. I've just asked the ushers to move around. All right? To move around the hall and ensure that all of us, before going home today, we get copies of the book. 20,000 naira. If you want your copy autographed, please, I'm going to pin down the author. You have to sit down in one place so that I can I get a table here? A table and a seat, please. I need a very small table and a chair here so that the author can sit in one place and autograph the books, autograph copies for people. If you are interested in having a copy of this book, I see you, Chief Azua Matus. Thank you very much.
Ijesha. Ujesha.
Ujesha.
Ujesha. So we start with you. Abi. Okay. U. J. E. S. A.
Ujesha.
Amen. Ujesha.
Thank you very much.
God bless you, real good.
Thank you. Now we need members of the high table.